Hello, everyone. Welcome to Foodie Friday. I'm Dr. Amy from Body and Balance Chiropractic. This is Coach Shu from CrossFit Ice House. As promised, we are back this week talking about macros. So last week we talked about just calories, the concept of calories, how to set a calorie goal based on your weight loss, how not to set a calorie goal based on your weight loss. So we're going to talk about a type of nutrition planning that I like a little bit better than strict calorie, like going by calories, because like we said, 2,000 calories of frosting and 2,000 calories of chicken breast are two really
very different situations. So what we're going to do is just talk about, like we said, macros. So what does that mean? Macros, there's 3 macronutrients in your food that we want to focus on. So protein, carbs, and fats. So reference our video last week if you're not sure how much you should be overall, because we still need to know that information.
We need to know the calorie number.
Right. So figuring out based on your size and your activity level how much you should be eating, and then from there, based on that number, what percentages should be each of those macros. So we are, for today's example, we just said 2,000 calories. You did your math last week, and you know what? Based on an active day, I should be eating 2,000 calories. So where's a good place to start for macros? It's a default and a good place to start. So that's our caveat, with 40% protein.
Yep.
30 carbs, 30 fat.
And so this is percentage 40, 30, of your total calories. So like when you look at all of your calories overall, what calorie, just to make it a little geeky for y'all and so you can learn something cool in case you're ever on Jeopardy. A calorie is basically a measurement of energy that your body can use. So different macronutrients, like the amount of grams for that calorie is different. So again, because calories aren't the same, depending on what kind of calorie you're eating, depends on how much energy that calorie is going to give you.
Right.
So that's, we're going to kind of go next so you can see kind of before we get there. But so calculate your calorie number. Then we're going to calculate percentages based of that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So we decided we did our math last week. 2,000 calories is how much I have to eat. So I would say first thing, hit that every day for at least like a week, and then we'll dial this in. This is kind of like that next step. You still need to eat enough, because if you eat enough and then try to get this part dialed in, you're still not eating enough, it doesn't matter. So first, hit your calorie number, then start with 40, 30, 30. So what does that mean? 2,000 calories. And multiply it by 0.4, 40%, that's going to get you 800 calories, okay? So that's 40% of 2,000 is 800, okay?
Yes, step 1.
Yep, 800 calories should be protein, from protein.
Yep.
Okay? And then 30-30, both for carbs and fats. If you divide 2,000 or multiply 2,000 by 0.3, it's going to give you 600. So 600 calories should be from carbs, 600 should be from fat, which that makes sense at a high level, but don't eat 800 grams of protein.
No.
Like that's
they said there'd be no math and they lied to you.
It's all math. Good news is MyFitnessPal does this for you.
Yep.
But taking that 800 calories is 40%.
Yep.
You have to divide that by 4, because remember, there are 4 calories in every gram of protein. Same thing with carbs.
Yep.
So you'll take your protein number and your carb number, divide it by 4.
Yep.
So for this 2,000 calories, we actually get 200 grams a day of protein. Yep. We get 150 grams a day of carbs. And then fat's a little different. There are actually 9 calories for every gram of fats. So that's why they taste so good. It's my theory.
Savory and satisfying.
Right. So you actually would only get 67 grams of fat. So that can be a lot less than you may be eating, which is where tracking becomes important, so you know where you're starting and where you need to go from there.
Okay, so I'm going to point something out. Let me pull it up on my phone for y'all so you can see it. So I like the MyFitnessPal app. Caveat, I don't like their default for what they tell you to eat in calories.
Yeah,
So don't use that calorie. Use the stuff that we talked about last week and manually enter that. And then when you manually enter that, you can also manually enter like your percentage levels for what you want your macros to be. And that's a way better way to use MyFitnessPal. I also dislike the fact that the way they calculate your calories in MyFitnessPal, and then they want you to add in how many calories you're burning for exercise. I don't even mess with that either, because if you're using the equation that we gave you, they're accounting for the calories that you're going to get in your exercise. So just don't even mess with that. I wouldn't personally enter the exercise side of things into MyFitnessPal. Don't use their calorie. If it was me, I wouldn't use their calorie, stuff either. So When you go into MyFitnessPal, what you'll want to do is you want to hit, let me get to where you can see this. You want to hit your little 3-dot thing, to bring up this menu. Under the More menu, what you'll see is you'll see something that says Goals. So when I click the Goals tab, let me refocus in for you. Oh, this is difficult. Okay.
There, yeah.
Yep. So you'll see all of this stuff. And underneath you'll see nutrition goals. So then it says calorie and macronutrient goals. You can tap that, and then basically it'll pull up a page for you to enter in those percentages. And then it will automatically calculate how many grams of everything you can eat. Now, here's the thing about this. I always tell people too, on top of this, protein is like a minimum.
Yes.
Okay, so hit your protein. Like that's your goal priority is to find that protein number and get there.
Mm-hmm.
Carbs are a ceiling. You don't want to go over it.
Mm-hmm.
And then fat is kind of the thing you do a little bit more of or a little bit less of depending on how hungry you are. So the more fat you're eating in your diet, the less hunger you're going to feel.
Mm-hmm.
But the more fat you're eating in a diet too, like it's harder to kind of shred out and lean out if you're eating lots of fat.
Right, because there are more calories.
More calories because there's 9 versus 4.
Right, so they tend to be more calorie dense food, so the volume of food you're eating also tends to be it. So we are going to do some stuff on serving sizes later that you'll see that. But yes, that's a really good call out too. So definitely need your protein, which 40% can be a lot for a lot of people because there's carbs and fat in everything, especially if you eat a lot of processed food. Finding enough protein can be really tricky. So just keep that in mind. But
unless I'm so when I sit down and do this, I know for myself, unless I'm specifically thoughtfully and intentionally eating protein and planning that out, I'm going to be very honest with you, getting even 100 grams of protein is hard. You got to want it.
Right.
And it's the protein without all the extra fat. So we're talking about lean sources of protein. So lean ground turkey, chicken breast, fish. But here's the thing with fish. Sometimes there's higher fat levels in some of the fish that you're eating, so make sure you're eating lean fish.
Right.
Red meat is going to be too high in fat if you're trying to get really high protein, lower fat, or you're running into some of that. So
right, because it's not just because it's a protein. There's may still be fat or carbs in these foods. So that's where MyFitnessPal is really helpful. Because if you're entering, I ate a steak, it will tell you how much you're going to have to weigh your food and start understanding how much.
We'll talk about that next week.
Right. So, but MyFitnessPal is very helpful because it will tell you everything that's in your food, even if you are like, all right, this is my protein. Like a lot of people, nuts. Nuts is a good one where people, I eat a bunch of almonds, so I got my protein. Yes, there is protein in nuts, but there is a hell of a lot more fat.
Beep.
Sorry.
Beep done.
A lot more fat in nuts. So it's still a good snack food to have, but you gotta, this fat number sneaks up on people really quickly. So it's just good to be cognizant of that. So MyFitnessPal also has a desktop app, which I like better than the phone, just because I don't like tracking in a phone. But you can pull it up on your desktop and plan out a whole day, and then you can kind of copy and paste meals if you're going to be making a lot for leftovers. So you know what you're eating if you don't want to have to sit and enter it as you're eating it. Sometimes if you are better doing planning ahead and sitting at your computer and doing that, it might set you up for success more. I know that's something that I've found a little better luck with.
Yeah, when you're trying to do macros, they're really not, if you're trying to do this and do this well, it's not like a fly by the seat of your pants thing because it is math and it is something that takes a while to get used to it. As I restarted playing around with it this since the first of the year since we started talking about all of this, just to kind of see where I was at. And even though I used to do this religiously for a couple of years, I'm still like,
Yeah, you get to the end of the day and you're like, I have I need
I have 200 calories and I can have.
It starts to turn into Tetris when you're trying to figure out how what will fit so that you can hit your macro right on or as close as you can.
It's good to have some Old Faithful meals. I know, again, when trying to lose weight or trying to be good about some of this, I tend to eat the same 10 meals kind of on repeat because it's just easier to track. I know what the numbers are, and honestly, it's just then my imagination doesn't run as well. So basically I eat chicken, vegetable, cauliflower rice is kind of or fish, vegetables, cauliflower rice, or whatever else, or salad, or I have a couple of all
switch
those.
up which veggies I'm eating.
to
Maybe
live
the
on the
seasoning's
wild,
different.
to live on the wild side. Yeah, the
Yeah.
seasoning, changing the seasoning
Is life when you're
is
trying
life.
to figure this out
Because
and
it's-
work on the fat.
it's like the same meal over and over again.
Mhm.
Here's the other thing I'll tell you. I did keto for a while where you eat like basically no carbs, and carbs are in seasoning, and it's so surprising. Like, so if you are using seasoning on stuff, make sure that you're also tracking those, because like I remember like one time I made something with garlic powder, and like the garlic powder had like 4 grams of carbs in it for like a teaspoon. It's
So
like,
disappointing.
What?
If it goes
What?
in your face hole, you need to track
Yeah.
how many calories are in it, because a lot of people don't think about the
It's very
oil.
shocking.
Like if you oil your pan
Mhm.
when you're frying it, there's fat in all the
Lots
oils.
of fat,
Like, that's
and
what
like
it is.
200 calories per tablespoon.
Yeah. So you have to be kind of, if creamer in your coffee is a big one, drinking calories is, you can do a lot of damage with a beer or a coffee or that unicorn frappuccino nonsense.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I think that was like a whole day's worth of calories.
It was, yeah, but
It
like,
was like a what not to do.
yeah, but like that was one of those things where people are hating on that though, and then I like that they came out with a bunch of like other things that have the exact same sugar content as this junk, and it was like a Snickers bar, because everyone was like, oh my god, unicorn frappuccino, who would do that? And then they literally did like a whole series of like, these are also things that have pretty similar
Oh, there's
and
a
everything.
yeah.
It's
It's not hard to find.
pretty trashy.
Yeah.
So calculate your stuff. Again, go to the MyFitnessPal. Check it out. Enter your stuff in. Use the calorie stuff that we did this past time. Do this. You know, hopefully maybe we're doing the calorie stuff after last week's videos. Get kind of play around with your macros this week. And then next week we're going to talk about, like you said, serving size, which is where pretty much people that are like, I've been tracking calories, I've been tracking my macros, and I'm not losing any weight. This is pretty much usually the reality check that people need.
Yeah, how close are you actually tracking? And it usually boils down to
People aren't
serving
tracking.
size,
Yeah.
especially with the fats.
Mm-hmm. So we will see you next week. Let us know if you have any questions. Hopefully you're off to a good start for your New Year's goals, and we will see you then. Have a
Hey,
great
guys.
day.